Hi.
Hello.
Thanks everyone for joining. We'll be starting in a couple of minutes. We'll wait for more people to join and we'll start then. Well, I think we are now ready to start. So thank you everyone for joining again. Today we're going to talk about Flutter's enterprise potential, as you can see, and staff augmentation strategies. So for the agenda for today, we're going to introduce Flutter for enterprises, talk about all the benefits of staff augmentation, then the steps for choosing the right Flutter development partner, and the best practices for enterprise success. So we'll be seeing each point more deeply. To introduce ourselves, my name is Sofía Symonds. I'm head of regional sales at Somnio Software, and I have more than 5 years of experience working in the tech industry. And Álvaro, if you want to introduce yourself.
Great. Thank you, Sophie. Great. On my side, the same as Sophie. We are colleagues here at Somnio. I've also been working in the tech industry for some years in different sectors, from telecommunications to app development, retail, various sectors. But now, probably during this presentation, this webinar, we will try to merge our experience with Sophie and also the experience that Somnio has in order to provide some kind of assessment on how we can integrate all this experience into exactly the added value that we can have from a technology from like Flutter.
Exactly, yeah. So to present Somnio, first of all, Somnio was founded with the launching of Flutter in 2018. We are a 100% specialized Flutter company based in Latin America, specifically in Uruguay. We have our office here and headquarters. And we're dedicated to building mobile, web, desktop, and embedded system applications with our team of 50 people. Right now, we're growing all the time, but right now we are around 50 people, and we provide personalized solutions for any kind of industry. So we work from fashion to healthcare to retail. So it's very flexible.
Yeah, exactly. And linked to this, what Sophie mentioned, it's also important to consider that Somnio has been marketed for the last 4.5 years approximately. This is mainly because the name Somnio was created at the same time as Flutter was released as stable. But of course, each of the team members that Somnio have been in the IT sector for much longer than 4 years, of course, and that's linked to what we mentioned before of this merge of heterogeneous experiences now with a cross-platform or multi-platform technology.
Exactly. Well, to start talking about Flutter for enterprises, there are a couple of very well-known brands around the world, or multi-international companies that are already using Flutter. And it's not just like testing Flutter, but they have been using Flutter for a couple of years, and it's now core in their businesses. Some examples you can see here, like Google Pay, Toyota, BMW, eBay. They have their applications built in Flutter and they trust this technology. So it's a good reference to start with Flutter for enterprises.
Yeah, these logos here are, of course, a good trigger for discussions. But it's important to mention here that it's not that in these companies they have once used a technology like Flutter, for example, for one particular application that is totally lateral to their core of business. In this case, for example, we are talking that, for example, Toyota is creating all their infotainment system, the screens that they have in the cars, with Flutter for every car that is being produced. I don't know, for the last year and a half till now, it's been used Flutter for all those screens. New Bank, which is the biggest online banking of Latin America, is built fully in Flutter. The same with eBay Motors. The same now, for example, with YouTube Create, this platform to create content. And for example, this one that you have here, that is SNCF, which is the company that handles all the trains in France. Why is not such a known brand outside France, of course, but it's important to mention that all the tickets, all the reservations, all the schedules of trains are being accessed by millions of users every day through a Flutter app. So these companies are relying on Flutter for core matters of their business, and that's why we brought these logos. It's not that just something that it was isolated in a couple of years ago.
Good. To tell you more about what is Flutter, Flutter is the cross-platform technology built by Google that compiles natively both in Android and iOS. So with one single code base, you can build both kind of applications. And also, we will talk later about the multi-platform concept. But to start with one single code base, you can both build for Android and iOS natively compiled applications with a native experience. Well, now we're going to start talking about why Flutter is the best option for us. So to start with, the most important thing to mention is security. So having only one team working on your project or multiple projects gives access to the information to less people. So apart from having like the information just in one company, it's like less people are handling this information, and also you are like by having only one team, you have less time to market, less costs, faster development, and a consistent UI across the different platforms. Because with the single code base, you build both applications at the same time.
Exactly. There are probably the question why Flutter is a question that sounds kind of, let's call it mainstream. But the main things about Flutter, we already know them. Cross-platform, as Sophie mentioned. The native performance is something that has been around, that concept has been around for Flutter for a long time. And of course, when we talk about cross-platform, it's not iOS and Android, it's web, desktop as well. But during the presentation, we want to highlight specific points of why Flutter is a great technology for enterprise companies, and particularly for companies, big or small, that are aiming to work with nearshore teams or outsourcing. That's where we want to link the benefits of Flutter with this type of services. And in that point, one of those is exactly what Sophie mentioned about security, because, of course, one team obviously reduces the risk of disclosing of information, of bad practices, reduces the amount of management that you have to deal. And of course, in terms of for companies that have long processes of procurement or sourcing, going only through one process of procurement to have their desktop, mobile, or web app built, it's something that also saves time and reduce any type of associated risks.
Yes, John is asking about the cost efficiencies, and something important to mention, that the difference between hiring one team for Android and one team for iOS is doubling the price. So obviously, if you have one unique team in Flutter that builds both applications, the costs are reducing at 50%. and you have like almost the same experience as a native application.
Exactly. It's cost efficient, not only in terms of development, not only because you will need smaller teams for the same product, but it's also cost efficient regarding the points that I mentioned earlier, that it's not only the costs that you have just because of developing a product. There are also associated costs, the ones that we mentioned, of, for example, the cost of the opportunity itself, of hiring a team, going through those process, procurement, legal, then of course the process that you have to enhance the practice of those teams. I don't know, meetings that you need to have with the teams, communication in general, transparency, all those things at certain point have an incidence in costs, and those are things we will as a company, you will be having savings using a technology like Flutter.
Exactly. So here again, showing the adoption of Flutter at an enterprise level. The F500 companies have an average of teams of 30 to 50 people, as we were mentioning, so very large teams for building applications for both Android and iOS. When using Flutter, you not only reduce costs, time, amount of people, and everything, but your team will be 50 to 55% smaller when migrating to Flutter. So you have less people, obviously less investment, less time to build the application, but you still get two applications in a native experience.
Exactly.
This is the idea of always connected in Flutter is to talk about their offline mode. So applications built in Flutter are offered the feature of working or using them offline. So they have the offline capabilities. And for example, we have a project that we build an application that is for paying salaries to Marines. And when they are in the middle of the sea, they don't have a very good signal, but they can ask for this payment, and whenever they get like a little signal, they can get it and they don't have to do all the transaction again. This is really good for like applications that need to work, or either if you're in a plane or you don't have signal in the countryside maybe. So it's really useful, and it's something Flutter offers as a feature.
Exactly. This has been used a lot. Also in big companies that they have, for example, their workforce management tool built with a technology, but they also have a leg of this platform built in Flutter. This also that it's very, very interesting because, of course, not always in all the scenarios we have the best connection, or we are enabled to have a good connection. In these cases, it's also a good tool to have something built with Flutter. I would like to link this also with another thing. Flutter is a new technology, to call it in some way, compared with other technologies. So we sometimes link Flutter with having top-notch apps in the latest devices, in the latest iPhone or Android device. Android is Flutter is a flexible technology, of course, because we can build the best performance app for the latest iPhone. That's probably a fit. But also, if you would like to have a product that is accessible for the general public, not only in advanced markets, also in emerging economies that they have other type of devices, Flutter is a great technology for that as well. It doesn't mean that because of being new, it's only thinked and created for the best devices and the latest technologies. It's the core of these advantages is to have a technology that is that enhance accessibility and in certain way democratizes the access to technology in general. This is very common in the health industry, or for example in the non-traditional finance like cryptocurrencies. They are looking to reach as many people as possible, not necessarily have the best app in the latest device. It's only for a reduced market in a specific country or region.
Exactly. So integrating Flutter with ERP, CRMs, and databases is a really common requirement in the businesses and enterprises world. So they need to streamline their operations and provide a better customer service. So this is really important, and Flutter provides this possibility of integrating by using REST APIs or other services protocols to communicate with this system. So if you have your own, you can communicate your application. Like if you have a restaurant, for example, and you need to get your clients to your CRM, that's something Flutter can do. And it's really important to have all the information together on your systems.
Yeah, because with Flutter, it's not only that it's not radical that you have to migrate everything to Flutter or you have to start from scratch with Flutter. Flutter is a technology that was, of course, created knowing that the IT sector was already really mature. So it's a technology that is, in certain way, created to have the possibilities to integrate with other technologies, technologies and platforms. And if not, it's also an added value for new tools that companies are creating and gradually starting in certain way fading into their stack, technology like Flutter. It doesn't mean that if you have a company that is working with a stack that has nothing to do with Flutter, it doesn't mean that you won't be able to get all the advantages from Flutter if you create a new product or a new app with Flutter. We can totally integrate with other technologies, and that's another advantage there, of course.
Cool. So we're going to talk now that we know about Flutter and why to choose it. There are companies that prefer to, instead of designating their project to a company, doing it more internally in-house. And now we're going to talk about staff augmentation and how to get staff augmentation in Flutter, why it's a good idea, and why some companies prefer to use this rather than hiring a full-time team. So Flutter and staff augmentation in Flutter is commonly used when you need to build an application or two in different operating systems. But it's just like for a period of time that you need the team. So it doesn't make sense to really hire one team in-house forever, because when the project finishes, or like if your project is divided into modules and the module ends, you have your team not working. So in this case, staff augmentation is a really good option, and it gives you the possibility to access to very skilled talent based around the world. No matter if you want it in the US or in Latin America, you can do it like at the same time zone. So if hiring in Uruguay is a very good option because of the costs, for example, if you want to do the project internally, still work in a time zone that is like when you're working from 8 to 5 or from 9 to 6, you still have the people working in that time zone, but from another company. And whenever your project needs to end or change, you can just like stop the contract with this team. So this is really good for contract projects. They're going to finish in some point. So it doesn't make sense in this case is to hire in-house teams that you need to fire after the project, right? So now we're going to talk more specifically about the benefits of nearshore staff augmentation. As we mentioned, Somnio is based in Uruguay. We have our team in Uruguay in a physical location in a house. We have an office here where we'll come. So nearshore staff augmentation has a lot of benefits, starting from the competitive prices. Compared to the US, prices are really competitive. I might say half the price. Also, you get access to talent that's really qualified, because Uruguay is one of the tech hubs in Latin America, and it's gaining more and more popularity in the tech world. Also, as I mentioned, we have a physical house that enables us to control more what people is doing, and also provides our clients or our partners more security when hiring someone that we know is doing the right work. So it's like a peace of mind for our clients and team members to have the people here. Also, another good thing is that Uruguay has very proficient English speakers. Almost everyone has a really good English, and people in Somnio are tested to have really good English skills. Also, the cultural compatibility is a really important thing, because when working with a team directly, it's really important to be like in the same page in terms of culture, because communication is easier. Anything you need to mention to them, they will understand in the same kind of language and culture. Um, and yeah, like apart from that, the proximity of the countries for visits, we're both in America, so it's just like a flight distance. It's not really far away. So if for some reason you need one of the developers to move to one of the offices or to attend uh, any event or whatever, they are super close to the US and they can travel anytime. So that's a really positive thing. And it's like 12 hours flight or less. So depending on the city, right? And another thing to mention is the time zone alignment, that we already talked about it, but it's really important to be able to be communicating with the team at least like 6 hours a day. So depending on the state, we are like 1 hour ahead or 2 hours or three, depending, or behind. So the difference is not a big difference, and you can communicate anytime. Most of the times you can reach out to them almost any time of the day during your working hours. So this makes communication easier and faster.
The Flutter community, of course, has grown a lot. It's something that it's not so hard as it has been, I don't know, 3 years ago to find groups of Flutter developers. So that's not a pain if you choose Flutter to say, okay, in the future, if I need to work with another company that is not, for example, Somnio, that is specialized in Flutter, will I be able to get Flutter developers to provide maintenance or something like that? Of course, now it's something that is easy to get. But for example, if we talk about companies that are 100% specialized in Flutter, and we linked that with the concept of Nearshore, there's only one company that provides Flutter as their core technology, and also with the concept or with the methodology of Nearshore, and it's Somnio. Why is this? Because Somnio is the only 100% Flutter specialized company in Latin America, and of course, Nearshore services when we are considering the clients from US or Canada, for example. When we think about Nearshore, of course, it's companies that are within their time zones. So in that case, there's only one company, which is Somnio. This is something that, in certain way, it's maybe difficult to define. Well, what's the advantage that I will have as a client of hiring the only Nearshore Flutter specialized company? Well, it's not about that concept itself. It's because you know that you will have, as Sofía was mentioning, a whole team of Flutter experts working in the same space, sharing experience, sharing practices, and this kind of synergy is exactly what enables our clients, for example, to hire a team of 3, 4, or 5 developers, but at the same time have the experience of 35 engineers that are working together with those 5 team members, because they are all experts in the same technology. This is a really important difference with multi-tech companies, which are also great, but they have small teams of different technologies. And of course, if you hire their team of Flutter, for example, probably their expertise will be limited to those team members. It's not the case when you hire a 100% specialized company in one technology as Somnio. That's why we chose this niche instead of, for example, choosing a niche like, for example, fintech, healthcare, right? Our niche is the expertise in a technology that can provide services or products to many industries at the same time, but always with the same quality in each of those.
So flexibility and scalability in terms of staff augmentation is a very important reason to choose staff augmentation instead of in-house teams, because hiring a teammate or 2 or 3, as Álvaro was saying, it's super easy. Just reach out to the company, and there are people that have been already tested. They already work for a company. You know they're proficient in Flutter because or in the technology you're using, right? But you know their expertise, and the company is a warranty behind them. So upscaling or downscaling your team is easy. If you need to reduce the team, you can also cancel contracts at any time. And flexibility is also a very good reason to hire this, because you can either hire them for part-time or full-time depending on your project needs, at first for 6 months, and then maybe you need to reduce the team to 3 people instead of 6 and hire them for another 6 months. But then if you need to upscale your team again, you can just do it reaching out to the company. They'll find the right talent for you. So it's really useful to do staff augmentation when you need to downscale or upscale your team constantly according to your needs.
We will dive deep into these advantages once we link this with the best practices in app development for companies.
So choosing the right development partner is very important when you have a project. You need to choose a good partner, because that's critical when you're starting a mobile or web project. And how to choose this partner is like how we define the steps to choosing this partner. First of all, you need to understand your project requirements, if you want to build it in Flutter, or if you want to build it just for iOS, just for Android, if you want to build it in web and desktop. What do you want to do? First of all, after that, your budget, right? So if you want to build Android and iOS but you have a limited budget, you better choose a technology like Flutter, because you hire just one team. And if you choose to do it with Flutter, well, start looking for Flutter companies that have the expertise in the industry you're working in, or similar projects. They have a lot of projects. Check for client reviews, skills, portfolio, case studies, and everything, so you can understand which one is the best. So another really important thing, as we mentioned before, is the cultural fit. You need a company that understands your needs, that you can communicate well with them. Whenever you have the first meeting, you have this good feeling, and the culture is really important, this good feeling. So the values of the company are something that we think are important at the moment of choosing a Flutter development partner. In our cases, these are our values, and we think they're really connected to our clients in the US, because we prioritize quality, obviously trust. We are very transparent in every step of the way. Documents are from your site, so we show everything. There's nothing hidden. There's a team synergy. We have people in Flutter in our house, like lots of expertise. So you're thinking of staff augmentation, you can hire a new one anytime, because we already have the people. Or if you want to build your project, we will define the perfect team for your project. So communication is really clear. We use channels to communicate, like Slack, email. Also, we work with agile methodologies. So we define sprints, and you will see like every step of your project. So we suggest this defining it like in modules. So you see like first stage, second stage, and everything. So this is like a really important decision when starting a project, right?
Yeah, what's the advantage of hiring a nearshore team when you don't have transparency and access to communicate with the whole team as if they were part of your own company? For us, the providing nearshore services, it's not only about the time zone. It's not a geographical advantage that we have. It's of course when you hire a team, this clear communication and this trust, quality, and empathy that Sophie is mentioning, it's of course in certain way reflected in the fact that we don't develop our products in the shadows, right? Our clients have access to communicate with the whole team that they hire. All our team members, also something mentioned by Sofia before, have great communication skills. So it's not just that you're hiring a team of 5 engineers and you have access to one project manager or one tech lead that handles all the communication, and then you have a team that you don't know that is working on core business aspects of your company. In this case, you can have access to the full team. Of course, the level of involvement depends on the client, and that's an option that our clients have. If they just want to participate in meetings every 2 weeks or 1 week, they can do it. We have some clients that they participate even in the dailies with the team. So that's totally flexible, and we provide full transparency. The idea is it's for our clients to have the feel that the team that we provide, it's in certain way part of their own team, right? And that's, of course, we can do it because of the advantages of being where we are, that we are working in the same time zone as our clients. But there's also a big part of soft skills that we have to consider with our team members when they are onboarded and hired here at Somnio.
We're now going to show some of our success cases in different industries. So the first one is Pro Wallet. This is an instant payment solution for the construction industry, in fact. And it's like it unifies the sector with a little system that can make payments easier, like this easier process, and the calendars and everything are all integrated in the application. So to pay the salary for the people in the construction industry sometimes can be a little bit confusing, or depending on the amount of people you have, this makes these payments easier. Then we have Jack, that is an application for restaurants. It's like gastronomic sector. And this is, in fact, two different applications. One is for the clients and one is for the staff. So they can control and simplify all the experience of going to the restaurant. So it's really good.
Here we have two cases that Sophie mentioned, that they are already using the advantages of cross and multi-platform, right?
Mm-hmm. And Pronti is an application that is like stylist for like a personal shop or something, and where you can upload photos of your clothes, and they can help you make combinations. If you have a pair of jeans and two different t-shirts, it can let you know which one is the best depending on the type of outfit you want to wear, if it's casual or if it's more formal. And it can also assist you on like which other accessories or jacket to buy. So it's really good, like how to complement your looks with more clothes that you don't have in your closet.
This is a great example, for example, that of a client that had this app was not created from scratch on our side. It's an app that already existed. It was in market. It was already having success, but it was built in native technologies, iOS and Android. But the co-founder of this project was really looking for the advantages of cross-platform. Why? Because their first version already had a lot of user feedback and things that they would like to change or enhance from their product. So once that they start thinking of making these enhancements, they had to start considering, okay, so now I have to hire my Android team to change, for example, the in-app payments that I currently have. Then I have to hire my iOS team to make the same thing. And then, of course, be sure that in both cases, the user experience is exactly the same. That's the goal of this multi-platform applications. So in that process of looking for a team of experts, they found out that Flutter was a great option for that, because we were able to migrate the app to Flutter, and of course add all the enhancements that the client wanted for their product, only through one code base, and then it was deployed in both stores.
Well, we're going to talk about the best practices for enterprises recommended by us. So we're going to start with the concept of multi-platform. We already talked about the cross-platform concept, that means when you can build an application both for Android and iOS using the same code base. So multi-platform also adds the possibility of building with this same code application in desktop, web, and embedded systems like smartwatches or other different systems. So the three stages of and benefits of the multi-platform development. In the development, having one code is like one single code, and you can deploy it in the different platforms. That reduces the costs of development, obviously, and the time to market is faster. So you can have your application launch it before you were expecting to do it. If you were doing it with 5 different teams, for example, if you wanted to do all of the platforms. Also, you obviously save time, and you get a wider user reach, because there are some people that use mobile phones and some people that use web. So if you build in both, you're getting a bigger sector of people, right? Also, scalability is really important, and multi-platform applications are more scalable because they are designed to work on like simultaneous devices or various devices at the same time in different operating systems. So scalability is easy. And you also get a consistent user experience in all of these platforms.
Mhm.
The maintenance also, as you have one single code, maintenance is easier, and the process of maintaining the application, you do it once with the code. Also with the bugging, if you have a bug, the bug fixing is easier because you do it once and you apply it to all the platforms. And support also, or troubleshooting, are more straightforward because there's like one single version of the application that can support teams and need to understand the user needs and everything.
We are already in getting to the last part of the presentation, so maybe it will be great to double check that the concept of multi-platform versus cross-platform it's clear, because in other presentations that we've done or webinars, it's been a little bit difficult to define the differences. So we are highlighting multi-platform because we are, of course, this webinar was about potential benefits for enterprise companies. So in this case, why is it that we are not putting all our lights on cross-platform? It's because having one code base to deploy in different platforms, it's great, and that's the concept of cross-platform, right? But in big companies, it's the need of one product for multiple platforms. It's not always the pain that they have or the need that they have. Sometimes they have one product with one pack of features that needs to be a mobile app, of course, Android and iOS, and they have another product with different features think and sized for employees of the company, not for clients, for example, and they need that as a web app, but it doesn't have the features that they want to have in a mobile app. It's a totally different application. But and the same case, for example, with a desktop app that they use only in the accounting or administrative department of the company. Well, here we will have 3 different products that have different code bases because they have different requirements, different features, but all of them will be built with one technology, therefore with one team of experts, with one set of practices, through one process of procurement. That's the concept of multi-platform, right? It's I have my IT team, or instead of I have my app or platform development team, instead of having my Android team or my mobile team, my web team, my desktop team, right? That's the we believe that that's the main advantage currently with Flutter.
Sorry,
And of course, I'm sorry, Sophie, and of course, linked to this multi platform advantage that I was mentioning, it in sort of way triggers some of the best practices that we can have for app development in every company, but specifically in enterprise companies, about how to ideally build a product in a good way. this is something that through the services that we provide, regardless of Nearshore, regardless of Flutter, this is part of the things that we guarantee in every product and in every project that we interact with. This is really important because it's not best practices that are just pointed here as generalistics and things that it should be done in an ideal scenario. We have processes from product discovery to full product development and also staff augmentation, which is what we are mainly pointing here. But we also have these other type of services in which we go through the whole process of requirement gathering. We are providing assessment to our clients, and then our different points as the code quality that we always trying to maintain. That there's an example, of course, that we always use in terms of why we should pay attention to the quality of what we are building, even though if it's the architecture, for example, that we want to reach, it's not something that we are really paying attention now because we just want an MVP or a first version. In terms of architecture, it's always a good analogy to mention when we are where there's a building that is being built. The foundings of that construction is really what will define if they will be able to reach 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 floors, or it will be a building of 15 floors. Probably what we need in the beginning is just a product of 1 or 2 floors, but we don't want to limit ourselves to those 2 floors. We need to have the possibility to scale. So all these best practices that we have here in certain way point towards those that idea of having good founding for our products.
Great. So this is the summary of what we were talking about. So the most adopted technologies by companies. Flutter is very chosen by companies because of this that Álvaro was mentioning, the multi-platform concept and the idea of building one same application for all the different operating systems at the same time. Also, Flutter is gaining traction in the corporate sector with widespread acceptance, and it has a high return on your investment. So that's also really important. Any questions, you can write them on the chat. If there's some here.
And of course, if you have any doubts in general, all the information, of course, you can find it in our webpage. But of course, we have a YouTube channel as well with technical content about our meetups, content created by our technical team members. And also, we have institutional videos where you can see, for example, our location, our team members, all information that is a ways to provide more proximity or transparency to our potential clients or partners. Here we have a question from Eugenia, which is if is migrating from a native application to Flutter a time-consuming process. Of course, it has it will be in certain way very dependent of what's the application that we have, what's how is the native application built and what are the features that they have. But generally, migrating the native application to Flutter as is, it's not a time-consuming process. It's smooth and straightforward. But of course, in 100% of cases, our clients, as they are migrating, they also would like to have new features, other enhancement, and in some way adopt the advantages of Flutter. Then, Sophie, we have another question there from Candela.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So in terms of return on investment, would you say Flutter is the most cost-efficient choice for app development? Would say yes, because when building native applications, you need to hire 2 different teams. When doing it with Flutter, you just hire one unique team, so you are reducing 50% the number of teammates to build the same thing. So yes, I would say in terms of a return on investment, Flutter is the most cost efficient choice.
Exactly. Well, if there are no further questions, I think that we have all the material here to redirect to our webpage, our channels, and of course, any further questions or requests or anything that you would like to hear from us, you can contact us, Sofia and I directly, or through our web contact form, or through LinkedIn. We have multiple channels to get in contact with us, not only in terms of our services, but also in terms of our technical expertise, because of course, part of our mission is also to collaborate with the Flutter community. But of course, we are always available to answer any questions or provide further information.
Yes. Thank you very much for joining. And as Álvaro said, you can reach out to us anytime. We're really here to answer any questions. You can follow us on social media so you can see the latest releases and updates, either both in Somnio and Flutter. So anything you need to know, everything is in our channels.
Well, thank you all.